Experience pure Italian goodness, the real test of Italy.
Italian lifestyle, Italian design, Italian culture in London. This is The Italian Factor, and I am Gabriella, your host, joining you in this journey of Made in Italy.
Italian style.
Quite fashionable.
Very chic.
Buongiorno. Italian people as being quite friendly, quite outgoing.
They have a slower pace of life.
Grazie, tutto bene.
It is an amazing country.
I think Italian food is really easy on the palate.
Italians are definitely beautiful, oh for sure.
Today we will be talking about a drink that is appreciated all over the world. Italians are true masters in its preparation and great consumers. It is tasty and antidepressant, it awakens the body and mind in less than 10 minutes from the first sip, and it is consumed with over 2.6 billion cups daily. What drinks are we talking about? It is not difficult to guess. It's coffee. And to talk about coffee, today we have invited Marco Arrigo, who is the director of Bar Termini in London. Welcome, Marco.
Hello, Gabriella.
You, among other things, are head of quality control of Illy UK, a leading Italian company in the coffee making for quality and quantity of product processed and sold. The first question comes naturally, why are we Italians so good in producing coffee?
I think you have to look at the Italian consumption. It's very, very high. The Italians drink a lot of coffee. You'd think that coffee was grown in Naples. If they grew coffee in Italy, Italy wouldn't be big enough to supply Italy. So it's a consumption. It's 5 times more than the UK.
However, coffee was not invented by us Italians. But how did it spread around the world? There are some very curious stories which are the most interesting in your opinion.
It started in the Arab countries. It started in Ethiopia. It moved in the first place across the Red Sea into the port of Mocha, which was in the Yemen, and this was the hub of the Ottoman Empire, and the Ottoman Empire did business with the Dutch. And so it gradually, even though every point of the way people tried to stop it spreading, something got out, something was smuggled, something was gifted by royals, something moved, and eventually coffee got out through the rest of the world through the Dutch Royal Navy, which was massive in those days.
But at the beginning it was like an infusion. So the berries were inside the hot water, and then the hot water turns into be something like the coffee we drink, or...
There's stories that even when Caldi took these beans to the monks, apparently they didn't like them and threw them in the fire, and it was from the fire that they took them back out and roasted them. So we're not too sure exactly at what point they were roasted, but coffee is starting to move. It's still a stimulant, it's still got the medical effects. It's just not maybe a nice thing to drink yet.
It may just seem like a cup of hot drink with a strong taste. You can buy it just about anywhere. Easy. You probably thought this 1,000 times before, but that's not the case. The beans, before being grinded, are roasted at high temperatures between 200 and 220 degrees, a process during which they lose weight but acquire 60% in their fullness and an incredibly high number of aromatic compounds, around 1,000. In order to be roasted, the coffee arrives in huge European ports. The largest are in Amsterdam and Trieste, in bags of 60 kilograms that are listed on the stock exchange in New York and London. They travel around the world, coming from countries including Colombia, Ethiopia, India, Vietnam, and Brazil. What do these places have in common? They are all around 5,000 kilometers above and below the equator, in an area called the Coffee Belt, which guarantees the right temperature and the right humidity for the crops. Its cultivation is practiced by 26 million people worldwide, about 5 times the population of Scotland. And now, do you still think that what you're seeing is simply just a cup of coffee?
Marco, So you are a professor at the headquarters of Islington University of Coffee. And so now, what do you teach exactly and what courses have you organized?
We're training 150 baristas a week through that facility. We don't do a lot of courses. I still only do one. But I feel that the course that we do covers everything. You need to know how to look after the machine and keep it clean, but not too clean, otherwise there's no flavour, and not too dirty or it starts to go bitter, and then you need to adjust the grinder and just make sure the coffee comes out at the right speed. And you need to clean the grinder, you need to froth the milk, you need to learn to pour, you need to know all the other bits and pieces that come to making a good coffee.
I read in one of your interviews that there are more than 1,700 variables that can affect the success of a cup of coffee. Is it true?
I think it's unfathomable how many variables are. If you think about what's happening, we take a seed and we plant it. And for every little step of the way from planting that seed is going to affect the end espresso. And so we take a seed, depends where we plant it, when it rains, when we decide to pick it. Once it's picked, how do we dry it? Once it's dried, it's got to travel, it's got to be stored, it's got to be that, and then it comes to the most important bit, the bit that the Italians are good at, is the blending. And it's the blending where we put together the acid, the sweet and the bitter to make a balanced end result. And from the blending, it goes to roasting. And just in the roasting, there's 1,500 chemical reactions happening at the same time. And so after the roasting, this is a point where Illy take it through another process where packaging normally is trying to stop the coffee from decaying. But in Illy, we pressurise the coffee to make it better, so that the longer we leave it in the packaging, the better the coffee is. So there's a lot of steps in each single way.
And around the world, how many different ways of making coffee exist? What are the most curious?
You can make coffee with absolutely no pressure at all. So things like filter coffee, the Chemex, the new ways, the Chemex, the Hario, percolated coffee, all these, because coffee washing in water like in a washing machine. The second way is the low pressure, where you have the mocha, the siphon, the cafetiere, the AeroPress, things that you press down. And then the last is high pressure, and it's in this point where only espresso can be, because we take coffee and we stress it, we put it under high pressure, and we make a chemical reaction with the coffee. We mix oil and water together, and we make this kind of coffee mayonnaise, which is espresso.
It's too easy to just say espresso. Unlike the British, the Italians call it many different things because there's so many different ways of making it. You've got espresso, the normal one, perfect for waking up. Then you've got a double, a doppio, for those who are very sleepy, or a triple, a triplo, for those who haven't slept at all. With us now is Mirko. Mirko, how are you?
Very well, yeah.
Very good, thank you. You're going to show us the many different ways of making this drink.
Sure.
Fantastic, so off we go.
Okay.
The espresso can be customized according to taste, and we know that the imagination of Italians is proverbial. Some people ask for a ristretto, short, with the same preparation time, 30 seconds, but a different grinding of grains, a smaller and condensed quantity of coffee is obtained, or lungo, long, contrary of ristretto. There are those who ask for a macchiato with milk, cold macchiato with cold milk, or hot macchiato with hot milk. Some stretch it with water. If you want a different and more unusual coffee, you can ask for a maraschino, chocolate espresso, a treat with coffee, chocolate and cream. Or you can ask for a shakerato, served cold and great for happy hour. Real men take it corretto, spiked, with liquor. Italian, of course. You can also get a lungo corretto, but don't get a ristretto, because you might as well then just get a cicchetto, which is a small glass of grappa. So much for coffee. Of course, me and Mirko are on our 20th cup of coffee of the day, so I think we're going to keep it decaf, right? So here we go. Mirko, cheers.
Marco, what relationship have the British with the espresso?
Espresso had a massive impact in London when it first came to Soho in the 1950s. And it was an extraordinary time that we had the birth of a teenager, because this time in Soho, these coffee houses that opened, they could stay open late at night because they didn't need a license for alcohol, and so they would serve Robusta coffee in glass cups and play rock and roll that was just coming over from America, and the teenager was born, and we had this whole cultural phenomenon that happened, and it was all fueled by coffee.
And the Italians, what is their relationship with the coffee like?
The Italian relationship with coffee is very odd. It's a staple, it's a necessity. In England, we say when you get married, how many toasters did you get? In Italy, it's how many espresso machines. And the same way, if an Italian is on an island of the Maldives and there's one espresso machine and it's terrible, they will still go every day, they will still drink two, they will complain, but the next day they will go and drink a coffee and complain again. It's a necessity, it really is.
The top 4 curious facts about Italians and coffee. Coffee in Italy is not a meditative art. Forget about those long ceremonies that are practiced around the world. Forget those huge mugs to sip slowly. In Italy, coffee is a matter of moments. It is prepared in a moment and downed in an instant, strictly at the counter. In Italy, coffee defines the breakup of the day. There may be breakfast coffee as soon as one wakes up, then a morning coffee break, which is useful to have a chat with colleagues. The after lunch coffee, to get ready to face that afternoon. One in mid-afternoon again for a chat with colleagues. And finally, one after dinner. Probably better make it decaf though, otherwise you can kiss goodbye to your good night's sleep. Coffee is drunk everywhere in Italy. In homes, restaurants, offices, and of course cafes, which are literally called in Italy coffees. It's a bit like in the UK, a pub being called beers. In Napoli, there's a particular tradition called caffè sospeso, hanging coffee. And what this is a customer will come in and buy himself a coffee, but he'll pay for 2 coffees, which means when the second customer comes in, he'll get that coffee for free. Caffè sospeso, a fantastic tradition.
Just to let you know, someone paid for your espresso.
What?
How's it that this person doesn't know me? So I'll do the same, so.
You want to do the same?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Experience pure Italian goodness, the real test of Italy. Experience pure Italian goodness, the real test of Italy.
What are the direct competitors of coffee?
I think coffee's coffee. It's very difficult to compare anything to coffee. However, milk is probably the biggest threat to coffee, or the biggest competitor in the cup to coffee. And in England especially, as the cup has got bigger, the milk has diluted the espresso down so much that it's become a very, very different animal. If you were to make the plates in a restaurant double the size, the food wouldn't get any better. The quality would go down. And this is where we are with coffee.
And in your opinion, how much do people know about coffee?
I remember 20 years ago constantly saying, cappuccino is the one with milk. No, espresso is little. And you were constantly apologising, and we were constantly saying, no, it's supposed to be this small. It's nice over the 20 years that people have become a little bit more independent, a little bit knowledgeable.
Does drinking coffee make you gain weight?
That's false.
I think it probably does quite the opposite.
I don't think so.
No.
Depends what coffee.
False. It's actually one of the few natural substances that helps promote fat loss because it stimulates the use of fat as energy. Can coffee consumption help prevent diseases?
I'd say it's probably not that bad for you.
False.
I would say it probably has more health benefits.
But I should imagine it could.
Probably not.
True. They say that drinking a moderate amount of coffee per day, 3 to 5 cups, can help prevent liver disease and type 2 diabetes, as well as help with Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease, as well as memory loss. Are Italians the biggest coffee consumers?
False.
No, Americans drink a lot of coffee also. True.
I'm gonna go for Colombia.
Might be.
false is actually the Finns, with 12 kilograms per capita per year. The Italians are 5.9, whereas the rest of the world on average is about 1.3. But you can't deny one of the reasons why the Italians drink less is the amount of sunshine they have on a daily basis, whereas the Finns get just 20 hours of daylight for the whole of December. So you can see why they might need a bit more coffee than most. Does coffee cause bad breath?
Coffee breath. Not really, if you like coffee as much as I do.
Maybe.
No, false. Yes.
False. Tel Aviv University research shows that coffee in contact with the tongue actually inhibits the growth of bacteria that causes bad breath. So, before you go out with your girlfriend or boyfriend on a date, have a coffee. It's not going to do any harm.
Marco, let's talk now about public places where coffee is consumed, the bar, also known, as we know, as café. Just to meet our English friends halfway, what is the difference between an English pub and Italian café?
They're very similar. If you would go to a very small village in England or Italy, the bar or the pub has the same service. It would be where all the community meets. It's where everything happens, the baptisms, the marriages, the funerals. The slight difference is the English pub may have a little bit more on the food side and can be a little bit slower. The Italian bar is a little bit faster, and you pop in and you have an espresso or you have a Negroni. It's more of a drop-in place for one quick drink, I think.
And you are the director of Bar Termini here in London. How did you design it? How did you envision it?
We wanted to make a place that didn't exist anymore, and it was a nostalgic memory of a 1950s cafe in Rome. And me and my partner, Tony Colignaro, he's from Sicily and I'm from Turin. And we wanted to create this 1950s style and service. And we loved this white jackets and serving the coffee in bowls, just like my nonna did in Frith Street round the corner in Soho. And we wanted to take quality and compress it and go in the opposite direction to what everyone else was doing. And we made these extraordinary espressos with 10 grams of coffee and 20 grams of coffee. And so the whole concept is really simple. It's 4 coffees, 6 plates of food and 10 cocktails, but with an extraordinary attention to detail where we designed the glasses.
And this is typical Italian to take care of every details. And do you think that the British public appreciated it?
They do. I mean, everyone told us you'd never get the English to have espresso al bar. We wanted to change the recipe for Italian coffee, and so we cut the handles and we modified the machine and we changed them. And the English really do get it, they appreciate it, they travel, they know now.
With me now is operations manager at Illy's on Regent Street. It's David and Rico. David, thank you very much for talking to us.
My pleasure. Nice to meet you.
You too. First, tell us about the Italian characteristics that you've tried to embrace here at Illy's.
We try to have the coffee shop base in UK to reflect the Italian family feeling that you go inside the shop. The barista is become part of your family at the end of the day. When the customer coming in, you got this chat, you got this feeling, you got the opportunity to talk about anything. The barista is the first person you see after you wake up in the morning.
When you wake up in the morning, yeah.
And then maybe you go, a bad day? If the barista you welcome into the bar, the day maybe change. It's become more a different day.
So even in a big shop like this one, a big bar on Regent Street, how's your memory? Do you remember your regulars well?
The funny thing's that maybe I don't remember every single name.
Okay.
I remember every single coffee they take.
Okay.
And then this works both sides.
So when you're out on the street, you're like, double espresso, man.
There you go. When you go espresso, you take a little break. It's not half an hour, it's 3 minutes break, but that means you just switch off.
Is there a time of day when you won't have an espresso?
No.
Okay.
Marco, how can you recognize a good, well-made coffee?
I think people think crema is everything. If coffee has crema, it's a good coffee. It doesn't mean anything at all. The coffee has to be nice. It can't be too much of anything. It shouldn't be too bitter. It shouldn't be too sweet. It shouldn't be too sour. It shouldn't be too fruity. It should be balanced. And an Italian always looks at a coffee as a balanced thing. All coffee smells good. Even bad coffee smells good. So we can't smell it and we can't just look at it. We have to taste it, and flavour is everything.
Marco, you are head of quality for Illy UK. What do you think is so special about this company?
Illy's a company that for 90 years has been producing one coffee. We mix 9 different Arabicas in from 21 different countries to make this one coffee, so that 12 months of the year this coffee is absolutely the same. And the way that they handle the coffee is all about making a very, very high quality product.
Coffee is a social experience because coffee is the official beverage of culture. It inspired the best artists, the best writers, the best creative people, engineers, since Illuminism and the scientific revolution. So coffee is the beverage of modern age. Illy's mission is a smile at every cup, delighting lovers of goodness and beauty all over the world with the best coffee nature can provide, enhanced with the best technology and the art. Francesco Illy has been the innovator of espresso. Before him, espresso was low pressure, and he introduced pressure in order to enhance the aroma of coffee and to get the crema, which is now a fundamental attribute of espresso. Illy also innovated packaging technology with pressurization, so putting inert gas in the coffee can in order to preserve the fragrance and enhance the aroma of coffee. And the very first portionate system with an easy serving espresso pod, the very first portionate system in the world. For Illy, the Italian factor is our mission, our passion, and our obsession. Mission for the customer, delighting with the best quality and the best experience. Passion for our culture, which involves, engages all the stakeholders, from the plant to the cup, and our obsession for quality.
We test the Italianness of our guests.
Okay.
You have to sing an Italian song.
Video mare quanto è bello, spira tanto sentimento. That's all I got.
Very good.
That's it.
Thank you, Marco, because the conversation with you has been very, very interesting. But a last question. Generally speaking, what do you think the Italian factor is?
I think the Italian factor is this insane passion to achieve something spectacular, even if you lose everything in its pursuit. You lose your house, your wife, your kids, you know, and only in Italy would there be a Maserati or Martini or a product that sells, is so unique, it has such an amazing heritage, and they sell as much culture as product along the way.
Thank you very much, Marco. And remember, if you don't know what makes something special, it's the Italian factor.
Do you know any Italian words?
Ciao. Buongiorno.
Tanti baci.
Ciao.
Come stai?
Felicità.
Ti amo.
Pizza.
Bellissimo.
Pizza.
Mozzarella.
Ciao bella?
Buongiorno.
Mamma mia?
Italian words. No, I know Spanish words.
Oh, no, we need Italian.
Okay. Una cerveza para mí, por favor. That's...
Oh, por favor.
Por favor.
Oh, can you do that one more time down the lens?
Por favor.
Down the lens?
Arrivederci.
Experience pure Italian goodness, the real test of Italy.